In competitive Pokemon, you can usually more or less guess what Pokemon will do once you know a meta. Great Tusk spins, Kingambit uses Supreme Overload and Sucker Punch, etc. Some Pokemon are more unpredictable, like Iron Valiant, which has a menagerie of viable sets. But sometimes, people go off the rails with their sets. Whether they're trying to bait a certain Pokemon, surprise the opponent, or have simply gone mad, unhinged sets like these are the funniest things you'll see in competitive Pokemon. Thus, I present to you some of my favorite goofball sets. Gallade in Gen 9 is one of the greatest glow-ups you've ever seen thanks to sharpness. But what if you ignored that and dipped into Gallade's surprisingly deep support move pool? The Griefing Ender did just that, and concocted Rain Dance Gallade. They then shared the set on Reddit, much to the horror of onlookers. This poverty set was born out of a lack of Drizzle users in UU, thus demanding the need for a manual range setter. Gallade was chosen because it can provide the ultimate slow pivot in the form of Teleport, which has a priority of -6. Gallade also happens to match up pretty well into Pokemon that usually give rain teams a headache, like Tyranitar and Gastrodon. However, the Griefing Ender's concluding statement is by far the best reason, but the most important factor is that when the opponent sees a Gallade, he won't think you're stupid enough to use it like this. Side note, I was stupid enough to use Gallade like this in a draft game, and I won that game. Therefore, I can only conclude that this is the best Gallade set. Are you tired of Poison Heal Gliscor? Does it seem like the spikes and chip healing will never end?
Alright, life's hard enough as it is. You don't want to cry anymore.
I have the product for you. Pecha Berry Goldango. This Goldango set is designed to trick its Pecha Berry onto Gliscor so it can simultaneously heal Gliscor's poison and remove its Toxic Orb. But wait, there's more! Goldango can't get poisoned by the Toxic Orb, and it can later trick it onto something else, causing even more psychic damage to your enemy.
Leave me alone!
I love this set because it shows the amount of hate for Gliscor there is in the world. Which, by the way, it 100% deserves. Now, are you better off running almost any other Goldango set? Probably, but this isn't about being optimal.
It's about sending a message.
I have a rhetorical question for you. When you see Rapska, what business do you think it has being on a serious team? Probably a Revival Blessing user, right? Maybe a Trick Room setter? Either way, you would probably assume that Rapska is supporting its teammates. But this Rapska set is different, and makes use of a common combo that bug types have, Double Dance. Like many other bugs, Rapska can learn Iron Defense, and as a Psychic type, it also learns Calm Mind. It also learns Recover to stay healthy, and to top it off, it has Stab stored power. Thus, with a turn or two of setup, Rapska could go from being a silly little bug to a monster, as long as your opponent doesn't bring a Dark type. I used this set to great effect in the April 2024 edition of 35 Pokes, even winning a game of the final set with it. Rapska is far from a threatening sweeper, but it can sweep in the right circumstances. Rapchat is real, and I will always love the set since it's such an unassuming Pokemon. When you think of Roaring Moon, the first set that probably comes to mind is some sort of booster energy set with Dragon Dance and Terraflying Acrobatics. This set, along with others, was the reason that Roaring Moon was recently banned from Gen 9 OU again. However, what the ban voters won't tell you is the Roaring Moon set that they truly fear, Terra Bug. Specifically, Roaring Moon's Terra Bug, Jaw Lock, and Roost.
But that thing... it scares me.
The idea behind this set is to lure in Great Tusk and trap with its Jaw Lock. Terra Bug is then used to resist both of Great Tusk's stabs while also taking neutral damage from Ice Spinner. Roaring Moon can then Dragon Dance till Kingdom Come and proceed to sweep the game. The only caveat with this set is that it's completely useless against most other Pokemon. This was proven in the legendary battle between Finchinator and Mudkip Nerd, where some say the fate of the universe was decided. Regardless of Mudkip Nerd's fate, this battle inspired the masses, and Terra Bug Roaring Moon will now stand forever as a Smogon legend. Everything I've discussed thus far has been from Gen 9, so let's back it up to Gen 8. This set involves not one, but two Pokemon, Torkoal and Espeon. The idea here is that first, Torkoal uses Shell Smash, which will almost always be the last move used in the turn because of how slowed Torkoal is. Then, Torkoal's Eject Pack activates, which forces it to switch out because of the stat drop from Shell Smash. Finally, Espeon comes in and uses Copycat to copy the Shell Smash, lifts any hit with a Focus Sash, and goes on to sweep with stored power. Torkoal has the added bonus of setting up Sun, which Espeon can actually take advantage of with the Weather Ball, allowing it to hit the Steel types that usually wall it. This has been used with other slow Shell Smashers like Turtonator and Shuckle, but the premise is the same. This is a great set if you're an aspiring Showdown Salt YouTuber, as it says great against players who haven't heard about priority moves yet. Don't worry, they'll get it someday. Now for the final Goober set, and by far the oldest of the ones I've discussed. Rotom Fan is notorious for being a flying type with the ability Levitate. Back in Gen 6, the makers of Random Battle saw this and were struck by genius. What if we went one step further? I can only assume this was the thought process that brought us Air Balloon Rotom Fan. This is the ultimate ground immunity. Your enemies will quake in their boots, praying to any god they think can save them. If you don't understand the genius of this set, I recommend meditating on it until you reach Nirvana. Only then may you understand how truly innovative, creative, and perfect this set is. I think that about covers it. I hope you've enjoyed this collection of reasons for admission to a mental asylum. If you're a real sicko, try making a team fully comprised of these sets. Additionally, there's always room to innovate new sets, so don't be afraid to get in the kitchen. After all, the smoke alarm is only a suggestion to leave, not a mandate. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.